Anglicanism is in its worst crisis since Henry VIII. Being the Archbishop of Canterbury, head of the Church of England, has always been a risky business. Modern incumbents are not likely to be murdered before their own altar, beheaded by Puritans, or burned as a martyr. But being the head of 85 million believers in the world's third largest Christian group, the Anglican Communion is still a tricky and frustrating job. As Justin Webley, who just resigned in November 12, knows too well. Webley's resignation was prompted by a recent concluded review into the Church of England's actions over its worst-known abuser, John Smith. Being the Archbishop of Canterbury, head of the Church of England, always being a risky business. Smith was not a priest, but rather a lawyer and a prominent leader in the VIII movement, which ran evangelical youth camps that were largely targeted at the British elite. In his public life, Smith was a virulent homophobe who successfully prosecuted gay news for blasphemy in 1976. In private, he was obsessed with relations, and he sadistically was against young men. Now, while Webley knew Smith, and the review questioned his account of being unaware of the abuse, but it's hardly his own problem. Smith's case goes to the heart of Anglicanism, modern contradictions, and it has triggered a massive crisis of faith, as well as caused by the Church of England's second most important leader, the Archbishop of York, for the role of Canterbury itself to change. For liberals, it's a sign of the inherent hypocrisy of conservative evangelism, and it's very difficult to hold that set of beliefs and not be colluding with abuse. Alison Webster, progressive Methodist who worked for the Church of England for 25 years, told Foreign Policy, it's an authoritarian theology and a deeply sexist one. Like other religions, Anglicanism has been struggling with its past failures over abuse. Webley, formerly the Bishop of Durham, came into office as Archbishop in 2013, hoping to address past abuses and bring communion together, but he did not have an easy task. Andrew Brown, a religious correspondent and co-author of the book on the Church of England, told Foreign Policy, being Archbishop was already an impossible job when Rowan Williams, the previous Archbishop, took it up. And that impossibility stems from Anglicanism's sheer reach. The Archbishop of Canterbury does not have the same hierarchical power as Catholicism's Pope, but he is considered first among equals in a huge communion. The Church of England is proverbially a broad church, covering a vast range of practices and doctrines, from Anglo-Catholic ritual to evangelical preaching, but the wider Anglican communion, descended from the Church of England, is also geographically vast, spanning from Papua New Guinea to Boston. That span is a legacy of the British Empire and the Anglican missionaries who accompanied it. The handling of Smith fell firmly into the imperial tradition. A 1982 report, which stayed internal to the VIII movement, concluded that he had committed multiple criminal offenses. Nevertheless, the police were not notified. Instead, Smith was reportedly encouraged to move to Zimbabwe with financial help from other evangelicals. And there he continued his crimes until the Zimbabwean police became aware of his actions. Now, the dumping of the English abuser on Africa with the collusion of English leaders will only deepen African convictions that the Mother Church needs to repent, of course. The split over LGBTQ is the most painful division within the heritage today. The broadness of Anglican Church traditionally includes space for a lot of these people, but as priests and congregants left to their own devices, parts of the church might look something like Anglican Communion's Episcopal branch in the United States, which has been long supportive of LGBTQ rights. In contrast, the African churches that make up the majority of the modern Anglican community mostly take a hard-line position on LGBTQ. The Church of England has been left in an uncomfortable, compromising position. It will not perform same-sex marriages, but it allows limited blessings and tolerates LGBTQ clergy. The Church of England is also officially a religion of England and a key part of the national order. The Archbishop of Canterbury crowns the monarch, who is the formal head of the Church of England. Bishops sit at the House of Lords. The Archbishop thus has to serve the English public that is strongly in favour of same-sex marriages in the country, where attendance at service has been declining for decades, while at the same time heading a global communion largely made up of conservative African churches whose membership is growing. Now, Welby's successor will nominally be chosen by the king. In reality, King Charles III will pick up the name given to him by the Prime Minister, who in turn will be working with a short list of 2 names given to him by the Anglican Committee, one that now includes representatives from the global churches. It may be difficult for them to agree on a name, especially one untainted by the Smith scandal, but whoever they pick, the job will stay just as impossible. This is from Foreign Policy on DNYUZ. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.